guest. You don't want to miss this man. Up next is Eyewitness News. This has been the Traffic Avenue. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we are out.
Oh, yeah. 97.3. Come on. Let's go.
Traffic Avenue.
Go for gold and bet risk-free on the new season with Betway. Use the golden booking code found on the Betway site to bet on selected match week and get 100% back as a free bet on any losses. You always get more with Betway. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
The city is alive on 97.3.
Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM. Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Tonight, I'm here with
Ajwaten Krama Domina.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
I wish to use this platform to announce that I'm honorably resigning with immediate effect to contest for the high office of the President of the Republic of Ghana in the 2024 general elections as an independent presidential candidate.
The explosive words of Ghana's longest-serving trade minister, Alan Kyerematen, who has resigned from the NPP to run as an independent candidate in 2024. Is this the last nail to seal the political coffin of the man once known as Alan Cash, or the birth of a new era in Ghana's politics? The discussion is here on Eyewitness News tonight. Also coming up, Police Management Board queries Accra Regional Police Commander for the infamous arrest of protesters on the streets of Accra last week. And later on Eyewitness News, we hear from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, which has waded into the discourse denouncing the restrictions on mass actions. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business, there will be business in some 50 minutes from now from the Citi Business Desk. And the latest headline from the Citi Business Desk:
Anticipated global pressures trigger retention of monetary policy rate at 30% despite ease in inflation.
We are live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations and across the globe on citynewsroom.com. Let me take you through a list of media houses across Ghana that you can tune to and listen to Eyewitness News if you're leaving Accra. In the Western region, we are on Premier 100.5 FM. We are also on Sky Power 93.5 FM and Beach 105.5 FM, all of them in Takoradi. In the Bono region, we are on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, we are on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. Eastern region, we are on Right 90.1 FM in Somanya. Volta region, we are on Holy 98.5 FM in Aflao. Northern region on Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. In the Upper East region, we are in Zuarungu on Word 88.3 FM. We are also in Upper West region on Bugli Radio 88.6 FM in Wa. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, and we are interactive. We are also on citinewsroom.com. Join the discussion using our WhatsApp platform 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Alternatively, go on Twitter or X and send me a message using the hashtag Citi Newsroom. Tweet at Umaru Sanda or at Citi973. Let's start with a big story that has shocked many and possibly caused many people to be wondering what next, and indeed has led to the elephant giving birth to a butterfly. It has to do with Alan Kyerematen resigning as a member of the New Patriotic Party to start a movement on which movement he will be riding to be an independent presidential candidate for election 2024. Adjoa has a summary of that story.
Well, let's get into the story. And the former NPP presidential aspirant Alan Kyerematen has declared his intention to contest the 2024 elections as an independent candidate. This follows his withdrawal from the NPP presidential primaries and subsequent resignation from the party after the super delegates election. Alan Kyerematen on September 6th, in a statement, announced his withdrawal from the race on grounds that the polls were skewed in favor of a particular candidate. In that press statement, he indicated plans to, at a later date, announce the next step of his political career. And today, at the press conference in Accra, the former Trade Minister announced his decision to contest as an independent candidate in the 2024 polls.
Their party has been hijacked by a selected group of party leaders and elders, government appointees, behind the curtain power brokers and some unscrupulous party apparatus. It was my fervent wish to use the vehicle of their party to bring my God-given talents, experience, and knowledge acquired both locally and internationally over a period of 46 years to serve our dear nation, Ghana, at the highest level of executive authority. It is abundantly clear to me that my services and contributions to the party are not appreciated, and that my continuous stay in the party will create further tension and divisions, which is an exact replay of the circumstances that led to my decision to resign from the party in 2008. Fellow countrymen and women, under the circumstances and given the context provided, I wish to use this platform to announce that I'm honorably resigning with immediate effect. And I repeat, under the circumstances and given the context provided, I wish to use this platform to announce that I'm honorably resigning with immediate effect from the New Patriotic Party to contest for the high office of the President of the Republic of Ghana in the 2024 general elections as an independent presidential candidate. To actualize this goal, I will establish and lead a new movement for change in Ghana. The brand logo for the movement is the monarch butterfly, which politically symbolizes change and transformation, hope and positivity. It also communicates strength, endurance, spirituality, and trust, which are all key traits that I cherish as a political leader. In Akan, it is known as Afafanto. The brand motto of the movement is Ghana will rise again. Ghana will rise again, which symbolizes hope for the future of Ghana. The new movement will be led and powered by the youth of Ghana. Out of the over 17 million registered voters in the 2020 general elections, the youth aged 18 to 35 years constituted over 9.4 million voters, representing 55% of the total voters. This is a constituency that you cannot ignore. It is acknowledged without doubt that the youth represent the future of our country, and yet they constitute the most vulnerable section of our society. From available statistics, 85% of all prison inmates in Ghana are aged between 12 and 35 years. This is profoundly alarming. Fellow countrymen and women, it is also worth noting that every year, over 300,000 graduates from tertiary institutions in Ghana, excluding those from secondary institutions, enter the job market with little or no hope of finding a job. Clearly, public sector employment is not an option with an already over-bloated public service. This phenomenon of a pervasive employment crisis is gradually becoming a national security threat, as evidenced by the recent Occupy Julobi House demonstrations. The initial reaction of the police in manhandling some protesters is not the solution to the problem. What Ghana needs now is change, which will provide long-lasting solutions to the challenges confronting our country. Fellow countrymen and women, I'm using this platform to introduce myself to you, the good people of Ghana, and humbly seek your support to become the next president of the Republic of Ghana. I believe with unwavering conviction that I am the only leader who can guarantee the economic and industrial transformation of our country, the restoration of confidence in political leadership, and the unification of an increasingly divided nation. My unique selling proposition as a leader is vision, competence, integrity, and action. The four dominant themes for this change agenda, which will be pursued by the movement, are as follows. 1, change the political status quo by moving Ghana beyond the duopoly of the two main political parties, the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress.
Former NPP presidential aspirant Alan Kyerematen there.
Indeed, it's a big news. Alan Kyerematen, if you are just joining us, has resigned from the New Patriotic Party and has decided to run as an independent candidate in election 2024. He has set up a movement known as the Movement for Change, which movement he's going to ride on into the next elections. And he's inviting everybody, both from the NPP and NDC, to join him. It is a big deal, or is it not? Let's understand the history of persons who break away from political parties, the formation of movements and political parties, and how that has worked for the parties they broke away from or worked against them. Let's trace this to 1979 because it's something many people are referencing now, that this has happened before the Victor Owusu era. Recall that. Now, is that the same thing that's happening? Is this history repeating in the UP tradition? Let me go on the phone line and speak to a journalist who has covered lots of political issues, has hosted a television program for more than 20 years and still doing that, studied political communication and has been practicing journalism for more than 2 decades. Paul Adumotri hosts Good Evening Ghana on Metro TV. He's joined me on the line. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening, Mario. Good evening.
I know you've covered lots of political, historical moments. I'm not sure you covered what happened in 79, but as someone who has been doing media for all these years, clearly that's a worthy reference point in discussing Alan's exit from the NPP today, no?
I'm not sure whether it is. If you look at the 79 example, the circumstances of 79 is quite different, and we can get to that. What is similar to Alan Kyerematen's situation for the generation of people who are much younger is the 2000 election where Charles Rekubrobe, who was a founding member of the MPP, a very senior and important member of the Alliance for Change that wrote the Kumi Prekun election demonstrations, a very important member of Kwame Pianim's campaign of the 1996 MPP presidential event, who then decided to leave the MPP because he felt that the party was incapable of winning the 2000 elections, even though he felt the election was up for grabs. And he set up a different party. The circumstances of Rekubrobe's agitations at the time are very, very similar to Alan Kyerematen's concerns about how he has not been allowed to operate. This was Rekubrobe's issues, how he has not been allowed to operate, how the party is being hijacked by some people, how his contribution has been overlooked and is not respected. A lot of the things Dr. Brobe said were about how he has been treated, or allegations of how he has been treated. It came as a big deal. But then he ran as an independent candidate in a party called the UGM, something like that. And so that's very similar to Alan. You can also look way behind 79 and go all the way to 10 years earlier, in 1969, after the coup that overthrew Nkrumah and politics was coming again in terms of party politics. There was a guy, a very important member of the MPP called Joe Appiah. He's actually a legend of the MPP. Joe Appiah started his life as a CTP with Victor Usu and others, and then was moved to the UP tradition. Joe Appiah had been studying abroad in exile with Professor Buzia. When Buzia was selected as the leader of the party, Appiah was very unhappy with the selection of Buzia, and he became a thorn in the flesh of the system. Eventually, he stepped out to form his own party, but he couldn't even manage the parliamentary election. That was parliamentary elections, and Appiah did not even win his own seat in Kumasi. So the similarities of Alan Kyerematen will be better placed looking at Charles Rekubrobe's example of 2000 and Joe Appiah's example of 1969. The 1979 is a completely different kettle of fish, which we can talk about.
Indeed, that kettle of fish, many believe, is the reason we had the man from Golu becoming the president of the land. The question now is, now that we are seeing Alan exiting the party at this crucial moment, does it pave the way for the man from Bole to come to the Jubilee House?
If you look at Alan's situation as similar to 79, then you may ask that question. But those of us who think it's dissimilar, I don't think that question arises.
Why do you think it's dissimilar?
It's dissimilar because the 79 election, the circumstances were as follows. A coup had taken over party politics after the Buzia era. Achampong had staged the coup. So the coup era has seen a lot of demonstrations occurring in the mid-70s. And the force of the demonstrations was the whole impetus that got the palace coup against Achampong and eventually the revolt of June 4th. Some people thought that that group of people who, without party politics, had led that revolution, that onslaught, that demonstration, that social awareness, the consciousness that was created by the PMMFJ, that's what it was called, an amalgamation. Many people thought that the PMMFJ, as it was, populated by former politicians, former members of parliament, professional associations, students of Ghana, they thought that the PMMFJ should be snowballed into a political party to change the dynamics of the country. And so that's for the circumstances of the time. So a lot of people felt that we should go with the PMMFJ group. But the traditionalists of the UP insisted that they needed a traditional UP party. So that was the conversation at the time. So if you take a stalwart like Professor Edu Boahen, what he became for the MPP, Edu Boahen was actually one of those who felt that the movement that overthrew the military and brought back party politics, that movement should be formed to form a political party. They also argued that the traditional setting of the UP tradition was steeped in Menchia Palace and Ashantism. And they thought that that needed to change because the NLM, the National Liberation Movement, out of which the UP was formed in Menchia Palace. It had its objectives about supporting Ashanti cocoa farmers. So the Duboahens of the mid-70s, the Obeda Samuels, the Alhaji Muhammad Idrisus, Dr. Gama, Sami Okujeto, Peter Alajete, they all felt that this intrinsic association of Ashantism with the UP tradition should change by forming a party that has a broad base So that's why their party mantra was broad-based. They called it broad-based the best, and they called it a convention. So that was the circumstances of the time. The force of forming a party that did not have the intrinsic appearance of the NLM at the time was much, much greater than the circumstances of Alan Kyerematen today. So when the traditionalists felt that they needed a political party, they asked William Ofori-Atta if he wanted to contest the election. They were confident that if an election is thrown up, the support of Ashanti region for Victor Usu was going to be significant. They also believed that the support of Ashanti region will be endorsed by Eastern region and the general Akan community in Middle Belt to Southern Ghana. This was one of the agitations of Akentena Pianinka, who believed that, if you read his book, it's there. If you read Don Kofojo's book, it's all there. Who believed that if we were to go to a contest, the Akan force will make Victor Usu win. It appeared that William Ofori-Atta suspected that. So he didn't participate. Initially, he said he won't participate in the contest. When the contest came, Owusu won anyway. So Owusu became the flag bearer of the UP tradition, as it was. And then the forces around then convinced William Ofori-Atta that you should also run. Now, that election, that 79 election, had also the Nkrumah's position divided in the same manner. Many people don't talk about that. But I'm happy that Professor Ivan, as I mentioned, writes it out in his book, that if they talk about the UP being divided, then Nkrumah was more divided. If you look at the list of political parties that contested 79, Colonel Banasco was a famous Nkrumah, the Action Congress Party. He didn't join the PMP of Imori Gala. He felt that Imori Gala was not subscribing to the dictates of Nkrumahism. And so Colonel Banasco ran on his own. I believe that PKK Kwedu also ran on his own. So the Nkrumah's parties for 79 election was more than two. The Danko Buziai's parties for the 79 election were two. So that was the circumstances of the 79 election. I do not see how anybody can relate 79 to what is happening today. You can relate what is happening today better in similarity terms to 2000 Rekubrobe and to Joe Appiah of 69.
So the ethnicity bit of Alan being an Ashanti and the party currently being led by an Achim would not play out at all, you think?
I don't know whether it will not play out. We have to analyze that. But I'm just saying that what Alan Kyerematen has done today is dissimilar to the events of 1979.
Okay. You've given a parallel in the NPP. So Rekubrobe for you, the UGM issue of 2000. How about if we wanted to extend it to the NDC side so that we can then come to a convergence at the point and ask what becomes of Alan Kyerematen? We have seen similar things in the NDC too. You've talked about the divisions in 1979 in the Nkrumah's party, but let's come in recent times and look at the NDC itself. We've seen people break away from that party. We can put all these together and analyze to ask the question, what does Alan's exit mean? Can you help us?
If you look at Alan and you want to look at a recent example from the NDC, the classical would be Guzi Tano of the Reform Party in 2000. Because Guzi Tano in 2000 was concerned that the leadership of the party had produced males who was illegitimate. That's the concern of Guzi and his friends, Peter Podube. I worked directly with the Reform Party, so I know everything that happened there. I was in Guzi's office almost every day. So Guzi was with Peter Podube, was with Sam Gaba, Chichi Opoku, Nije Bano. They had constituted a certain think tank around the Rawlings enterprise. They had been the think tankers who had been doing the research and doing the election analysis for Kojo Chikata and all of them. So they had been an important group in the party. Just to say, I'm not finding a good word for who they were, but they were more than important. I'm not finding the word for it. So this group of people felt that if Rawlings was exiting by the constitutional limitation, the party needed to conduct a proper congress so that the grassroots would choose their new leader. It was sprung upon them one day in Swedru in the central region when the Fancy Confederacy of Atoa Hoy, Kwame Nahoy, Tutubi Kwachi, and others had orchestrated a situation where Flight Lieutenant Rawlings was convinced that Mills should be his successor, and Rawlings was encouraged in Swedru to make a public announcement. And so what has now become known as the Swedru Declaration, J.J. Rawlings then said that his vice president will replace him. That offended Guzi and others, and they thought that this was completely illegitimate. So they set out to form a party which they call Reform. Reform because they wanted to reform the NDC in its democratic ethos. They felt the NDC lacked the democratic, they had a huge democratic deficit. So they called their party Reform. And then they set out in election 2000, and then we know the result of what happened. So if you're looking for similarities with Alan Kyerematen's situation of today, you will look at Guzi Tano in the NDC, Reku Brobe of the MPP, Joe Appiah of the UP era.
Would it be far-fetched to introduce Nana Konadu Rawlings, who also left the NDC during the presidency of Mills, to form her own political party?
It certainly wouldn't be, because her complaint was also very similar to Guzi's complaint. Incidentally, both involved Professor Mills. So her complaint was also that continuing to keep Professor Mills as the candidate of the party was unhealthy, and that she will participate in a congress that will hopefully bring her up as a leader. When the congress came, she felt she had been cheated, similar to the kind of sentiments that Alan Kyerematen is expressing today. Nana Konadu felt that she had been cheated. She felt that the congress was not properly done. So yes, that's quite similar. And then she was disqualified for the 2012 elections, if I remember. But in 2016, she was on the ballot.
Okay, now this is the issue, and that's the main one we're going to talk about. Alan has done what these people have done in the past. If you look at just the history on the face of it, you would say it's a pointless decision, it's a suicidal mission. But there are others who hold a view that the past is not a prophecy at all. It's just what it is, the past. And that Alan's decision tonight could be a very significant, which would disturb or destabilize the Elephant's Party. What's your take on that, considering his weight?
Well, in politics, everybody is important. You can't describe any individual as being unimportant in politics. So I don't think that people will say that what he's done it will not affect the MPP. Time will tell. We have to wait to see what happens. But then you take the indications. We are going into an election which is only a year away. He has come up with an independent candidate. Many people or many analysts will look at it at the outset and say that an independent candidate is unlikely to win Ghana's election. Not because we don't like independent candidates, but the sheer organizational capacity that the independent candidate may not get. There are 38,000 polling stations in the country, maybe more. There are 275 constituencies in the country. And you need to organize in electoral areas. The force of a political party is better equipped to be able to run around all 38,000 polling stations, to be able to create cells in all of those places. Independence is going to be very difficult to do that within a year. So that's why people will say that an independent candidate cannot win, which we agree with. Okay. Can an independent get significant votes to derail one party or the other, to give an advantage to one party or the other? Because in this Alan circumstances, the National Democratic Congress seemed very happy about it, and I would have been if I were a member, and the MPP are concerned about it. So going into the election, Alan is talking about the youth. So let's look at the youth constitute the majority of the voters. The youth are the decision makers of the country, and usually of every country. Especially at this stage in Ghana, the youth have more power because they have more numbers and they are educated. So looking at that thing, will the youth, let's say Alan is going to pick 100,000 votes. Where is the 100,000 going to come from? That's the question we're asking. So question number one, is 100,000 going to come from NPP people? My answer to that is almost a no. It's a bit too early, but I think it's no. Because NPP people know that they are going into an election that they can win and they can lose. It's crucial. They're asking for a third term. It's a difficult election. So an MPP youth person will feel that voting for Alan is throwing my vote away. Because you vote for Alan and he ends up with a ridiculous percentage, nothing happens. So they are more likely to vote for their party. The NDC youth as well. NDC have been in opposition for 2 terms. They are being frightened by a break the age phenomenon. They don't want that break the age to happen. They certainly want the age to be destroyed. They shouldn't be broken. They want the MPP out. They want their candidates to win. So NDC youth are not going to even pay attention to potentially vote for Alan. They may support him on social media. They may support him in rhetoric. But in terms of casting the ballot, they are going to vote for John Mahama. Now we have the middle, which is always the decision maker in Ghana. Will the middle then decide that, given the circumstances, they are voting for Alan? I can tell you that by the time the campaign hits a crescendo, if Dr. Bawumia becomes the MPP candidate, with the kind of campaigning that he does, which he's going to do, when the campaign reaches a crescendo and it's John Mahama versus Dr. Bawumia, people will even forget that Alan Kyerematen is participating. It's going to be such a feisty election. It's going to be brutally fought, and nobody's going to remember that there's a third candidate. I can assure you of that. But we still need time for us to see how the Alan thing pans out.
So for you, the biggest loser of tonight's declaration is Alan himself and not the MPP, not the NDC.
I don't think there's a loser and there's a winner. It just helps us to understand the times and the seasons, and we give ourselves time to observe. But if you want to look at history, as people say history is not a prophecy, I will say that Solomon in Ecclesiastics in the Bible said that there's nothing new under the sun. He said what has happened is what will happen again. What has been is what will be again, because there's nothing new under the sun. Solomon said it in Ecclesiastics. If we want to go by that, then we will say that Alan Kyerematen will crash out like Robe and like Joe Appiah.
I was going to introduce the smaller political parties and talk about Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum's exit from the CPP, Ayariga's exit from the PNC, but it appears all of those things will come up to the same thing we've just been talking about.
I guess so, Maru. I guess so. But it's an interesting time for us political reporters. This is just interesting.
Exciting, I think. And we wait to see what happens. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Paul.
I greet you.
Paul Adumatri was maybe first host of Eyewitness News, now hosts Good Evening Ghana on Metro TV, and has covered lots of elections, lots of politics there. He was just walking us through the political analysis, the political history of all these issues, the New Patriotic Party, the NDC, how they fared, how people broke away, how people formed groups, and all of that. We'll be hearing from senior members of the New Patriotic Party in a bit, but before then, let me hear from you who've been sending tweets. Senior citizen Harry Rashford says he says the mafia has successfully achieved one of its Ajapadia agenda. In the document, they believe Ashantis have no right to leadership, like Osavo Mafo allegedly said some time ago. Okay. Thomas Citizen says Alan was part of the government that brought us to where we are today, so I did not see anything new from him. Rashid Seidu says this movement is called Batafant movement, which is a play on the two words butterfly and elephant. Ragnar Otto says, could you entry please do a remix for Alan Cash's Afofanto? Daniel Atia says, good evening. In as much as I don't like the way Alan was treated in their just ended NPP Super Delegates Conference, forming a political party, well, let me just say, he didn't form a political party, he formed a movement. As an independent candidate at this time, won't fight. Wrong calculations in my view. That's a message from Dan Soman. Efo Kekeli Koku Bansa says, according to Alan, the country needs a new leader and not a new political party. Question is, when did he realize that after the humiliation at the recent polls, Ghana needs a decisive leader and not characters like... I thought he was an honorable man. That's a question John Kekeli Bansa is asking. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's speak to a founding member of the New Patriotic Party. He was an ambassador. He has done footballing, but he understands the New Patriotic Party a lot. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is joining us on the line. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Yeah, thank you.
Your party, and I don't know whether I should, because of all these issues that have been coming in the past, but I think it's fair to say your party has been struck tonight, hasn't it, by this huge blow thrown by Alan Kyerematen that he has resigned, or it is not a big deal?
Oh, firstly, it is my party. And I don't believe anyone in that party now can throw me out of the party. Now, let's come to Alan's case. I think what happened today, I have predicted about it about a couple of weeks ago, if not a month, after the specialist elections that they had, where 5 people were picked. And of course, that was when Alan protested or felt he has been cheated by the number of votes, which this afternoon he enlisted all. And also later on came out to say clearly that he is not going to be part of that group anymore, which follows is no more going to contest for that number one position. Now, I predicted then that the way I see things going and the way I see Alan behave, he might come out one day as an independent candidate. There were people who didn't believe me, and that is what we have to do. Now, the question is resignation from the party today significant? And I'll say it is very significant. Significant in the sense that definitely it will have effect on my party. That's the end. To some extent, to destabilize the party. I know that party very well. And unfortunately to me, that's my own perception. I don't think the leadership of the party at the moment are like the giants we have years back, who can take decisions, and they have the personality and the strength to come out openly and say no when it is no. Because if I look at the leadership now, we don't have the men like BJ Darucha anymore. Men like Udo Size is not around. Men like Stephen Kriku. Men like Kwame Tieneng, even though he's still alive, we thank God for that. He's not on the forefront, at the forefront of the party. Well, these are people who can say no on principle. We don't have them. The national chairman of the party at the moment cannot say anything. If I put it this way, he can't take a decision without consulting Akufo-Addo. I know what I'm talking about. So also are the other officers, the secretary and the host. So the position of the party itself is a big worry to me. Now, winning an election as an independent candidate to me would be a huge problem for Alan, a huge hill to climb. Because all the other appeals they have made, particularly to the youth, to me will not work. And the reason is quite simple. He's been with Akufo-Addo's government for almost 7 years. And the time that Alan should have left that party, he didn't. He should have left that government, he didn't. And I said this on television. I believe strongly it was Metro, where I was interviewed by Bridget Oates. Alan should have left the party, particularly when he realized the rot going on in the party. And that should have automatically turned him into a leader in the future. But he didn't do that. You follow me? So as I see it now, the saying that history is a prophecy. He might probably get few votes, but beating the NDC candidate and even getting more votes than whoever presents himself on the MPP side, either Baumia or the other one, Kennedy, Ajipon, or Adainimo, any of them who probably might get that position. Beating any of them would be a huge task, let alone beating the NDC candidate. And you see, we have to be frank about something now. We have to be frank. You see, if we have had a party or we run our party like it's run in the US or Britain, we know when these things will happen. But our party is full of selfishness, incompetence, tribalism, arrogance, and greed. And that is what has brought us to where we are today. It wasn't so years back. It was not at all, otherwise I wouldn't have been part of it. When people like that Roche are talking, you listen. We listen to him. We studied at his feet. I remember very well. Myself and some more brothers and others. We used to go to every Sunday. The man has tremendous experience. You can't have anybody like that today. So all these young people who, one way or the other, jump into the party, they jump into the party because of material gain. Nothing again. Nothing. I won't be surprised when they see that the party is dismantling, they will jump into other parties or jump into Alan's camp. These are not people who are convinced. They are not dedicated. You join a party to serve the nation first. That should be your number one interest, not yourself. I didn't benefit anything from MPP. What have I benefited from MPP? Position or what? Kufuor came in, Kufuor was somebody I supported strongly. But I disagreed with him on principle when he couldn't defeat Rawlings. So some of us thought, okay, let's try Kufuor, who can speak to the to and we supported Akufo-Addo. And I remember Kufuor asking me a question when we were going to have a congress in Kumasi to pick a leader. In Sunyani, I'm sorry. And I said Akufo-Addo is a man. And that was what brought the difference between me and Kufuor. So when Kufuor won, for years, I wasn't giving anything. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. You follow me? But the young men we have now, that is not their interest. And if our party is going to suffer, it will be because of some of these young men. Thank God we have other young men in the country who have realized what is happening is wrong. And then they have taken to the streets. And we know the results ourselves.
Doc,
so for me, this is how I look at it so far.
The party, New Patriotic Party, how should they treat this? Should they possibly try and talk to him behind the scenes, try to get him back? Or you think they should move forward and decide and determine that it is over for Alan and there's no point going back to him? And for Alan himself, what does it mean to his political career?
No, the party, I don't believe the party will make that effort to get back to Alan. Because if they did, Alan will tell them straight in the face that he's not interested. But this is not the first time. Alan resigned, I think, in 2008. By then I was an ambassador, I can't remember now. And I remember I called DJ Darocha, he rest in peace, then the chairman of the party. And he told me point blank that he's not going to bluff anybody. They are not until he came back himself. But as I said, the leadership of the party now is not heavy. The people there are not strong. In politics, you need people with personality. They're not there. They are simply not there. You don't see them. If you doubt me, list them up and see which of them at all has a personality. Alan has a personality, no doubt about that. But you ask yourself, was he given the opportunity? I think he has been cheated on a number of occasions, and that is not fair, I must say. So this time around, I think he's fed up. And when a person is fed up, he or she is capable of doing anything at all. And that is the point Alan has picked up.
Very well. Thank you so much.
But
yes, you can land.
Thank you. Yeah. But
okay.
Whether he can be able to come out with the movement he's talking about, and the movement will be formidable because he's talking about young people. We have about almost 76% or 23% of the voters we have in this country are young people. But I think the young people will think twice before they get themselves involved with things.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc, for your time tonight. And that's Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, founding member of the New Patriotic Party. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We have more voices when we come back. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Papa! Bobo, so how your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you can feel better energy.
Can't touch this.
Charlie, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that?
Yes, so
somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched.
Sancho Panza.
Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Hello? My guy, tonight what's up? What be the agenda?
Bro, make we enter town. We go pick level for 1957 bar. Then we go pre-game for Osu. After we fit enter streets, hit Ali bar, then jam for some other side. But not necessarily in order. Last we will take the last show enter club.
More options, you know that.
You know see, but today be you the pay.
Oh, you don't get problem. As I get Express Pay.
With all your wallets and cards in one place on Express Pay, you get to chill and casa with no worries. Send money, pay bills, and transact effortlessly. Our 24/7 customer care is always available to assist you. Download Express Pay and enjoy life with the option of all options.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. If you're just joining us, Kyerematen, former trade minister in Akufo-Addo's government. In fact, he also served as a trade minister in Kufuor's government, Ghana's longest-serving trade minister, has resigned from the New Patriotic Party tonight, has also declared his intention to run as an independent candidate in election 2024, and is going to do that on the wings of a butterfly, a yellow butterfly, the monarch butterfly. And he says that is a movement for change. When he resigned as Minister for Trade in January and decided to campaign, a number of party supporters were in his fold. One of them, Member of Parliament for Mpraeso, the Honorable Davis Opoku-Ansah, you recall he was member of the Alliance for Accountable Governance when the NPP was in opposition. He vehemently supported Kyerematen until Alan decided to withdraw from the race. He has issued a statement tonight. I'm going to just speak to him about that particular statement. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Sandra.
The candidate you were supporting, which candidate decided to withdraw from the race, has actually gone further to withdraw from the party and declare an intention to go independent. Did you at any point when you were with him on the campaign notice that this was a trajectory or the plan that he had in mind if things didn't go well for him in the Super Delegates Congress?
So, let me say a very good evening to your listeners, and to say that for me, it's an unfortunate situation. I'm deeply worried and disappointed as well. In this decision by Mr. Kyerematen to, first of all, quit the MPP. As for his decision to contest independent, I think that for me is not a big a worry for me. My worry is his decision to lead the party that he helped form in 1992, a party that he has served in several positions as an ambassador, as a minister, and also as a leading member of the party. I've been looking at what he's done as the chairman of the Young Executive Forum from 1992, and the support that he and others have given to this great tradition of ours. That for me is my biggest worry. And to answer your question, I really did not see this coming because I've said time and again that for me, in the superdelegates, it would have been a bit suicidal for anybody to have thought that you were going to beat Dr. Baumia in that contest. Because, of course, in politics, you need to look at where your strengths are and you focus on that. And that is why, if you realize the Kyerematen campaign was focused on the cluster campaigns and we were dealing directly with polling station people because we felt that he appealed to the base of the party. And so I was a bit surprised when a decision was taken that it would withdraw from the race even after it was part of the 5 that the constitution of the party stipulates that we should go ahead and select the 5. But that said, I mean, despite my disappointment, that is a personal decision that he has taken. And I can only say that we wish him well. But as a member of parliament who has supported him, in fact, I'm not too sure any young person in our party can boldly say that he has supported Alan Kyerematen than I have. I mean, since 2006, even in my student days, TESCOM member, TESCOM president, I've always supported any political movement of this. So, but I can only wish him well and say that any person who, like me, supported Alan Kyerematen, this is a time to reassure the party faithful that we are together. I mean, winning 2024 demands some unity, demands that we all come together as a party. It demands that we put our differences aside and forge. We come together and ensure that we win political victory for the MPP in 2024. So, Sandra, these are my comments on this.
He has extended an invitation to members of the MPP and members of the NDC. He wants to form a unigov of a sort. Credit to Champong, Colonel Champong. Would you, because if he became president, he would need to appoint members of parliament from either side. Since you supported him once, you wanted him to be president, maybe there's a time to accept that invitation and support him, even though you are in the NPP. Maybe campaign for skirt and blouse in price, so at least tell the people there that vote for me as MP and vote for Alan Kyerematen as president, so that you become his minister in his government since you believed in his principles and ideals.
It doesn't work that way in the MPP. And for me, it doesn't also work that way for me. My commitment to the MPP is a solid thing. I mean, I started this party, right from university days, even when I was a child, when my father used to be constituency treasurer in one of the constituencies in Accra. We would travel to Manchia-Buena, go to Indafa Park, visit Buko Square, just to appreciate the MPP, speak at rallies and big functions and all of that. We walk very long distances even when we were kids. So this is a tradition that is everything for me. And for me, like they always say, the MPP is bigger than any individual. For me, the MPP is even bigger than myself when it comes to me. So it's going to be a very difficult situation for even OPK himself to quit the MPP and say that he's joining any other political movement. This is a party that has given me my political standing. It's a party that I serve the people of Impriso, the member of parliament, representing them in their guest house. For me, it's a party that we need to ensure its survival in the political space of Ghana and to uphold the very principles and ideals that the party stands for. That is supreme. I mean, this party is a party that every Ghanaian should be a member of. We are all proud of it. I would not say that, parties or political parties do not or will not have differences. Yes, there may be differences. I mean, factions here and there, people taking sides, forming into a faction and all of that. And there will be some casualties which may happen, along the way. But the ability to come together after every political, internal political contest shows how strong your party is. And for me, that commitment is there. And I know that over 20 members of parliament who supported Alan Kyerematen, we have all resolved that we solidly believe in the MPP, and we are going to follow the MPP, and we are going to represent the MPP, and we are going to work tirelessly to ensure that the MPP wins power again in 2024.
So all 20 of you are very certain none would follow him on this MFC campaign.
And I'm telling you that none of the members of parliament that support Kyerematen will follow him in his movement. But we wish him well.
Would you say that you made a terrible mistake supporting him for the bid, or you still stand by what you did?
Not at all. Not at all.
Do you think
Like
your
mentioned,
party would
this is
welcome
somebody-
you with open hands and arms? And I'm referring to all those 20 of you who went with him. Would you?
Welcome. Where did we go that we are going to be welcome?
You left the establishment and went.
Nobody. There's no establishment. Who is establishment? The MPP does not strive on establishment.
Very well.
This is a party of choice. It's a party that gives everybody an opportunity to follow where you want to. I mean, people should not be punished because they supported candidate A or candidate B. I mean, if anybody does that, then the person does not even understand the chemistry and that forms the MPP. You really don't understand that.
Very well.
So nobody went anywhere to be welcomed. Nobody went to support anybody who was not an MPP member. It was an internal party contest. People had choices and people decided who to support.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
All right. Thank you, Sanda.
That's Honorable Davis Obokwansa. He is Member of Parliament from Praia, so he was part of the Alan Kyerematen campaign when he ran for the MPP flag bearership before leaving the race and eventually leaving the New Patriotic Party. So the news is that Alan Kyerematen has resigned again from the New Patriotic Party and is planning to run as an independent candidate. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll be bringing you the latest in the world of business, and then we'll go on Point Blank. On Point Blank, we'll be hearing from the National Commission for Civic Education, which is commenting on the demonstration last week, and we'll also hear from the Police Management Board. A decision has been taken on the Accra Regional Commander who supervised the protest leading to the arrest of some 50 people. And then we'll give you a flavor of what Alan has been saying to his supporters. Stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Yeah, Charlie, so many vibes na bonten father ma sanaba. Ma many papa nnuanu na do for mo fie ni mo akwentum. Hwe bibia anya so amani ska ko fie si fancy da na fie for abefo jawisi no parking. Ebe me Sujai Casa. Thanks to Sukasa, how hard to nyina atwa. Hwe Sukasa si adan abroni for an affordable luxury homes. All more 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. Where you're fully gated or grants and communities. Or more malls, clubhouse, and all social amenities. Plus 24-hour security. Almost our flexible payments. And yeah, no my dear Casa. Plus 100% guaranteed cashback. Yes, 100% guaranteed cashback. No quick one-answer stories. Contact Sukasa right now through phone calls or WhatsApp on 030-296-0865 and 055-369-7886. Charlie, social media, so more, baby. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Sukasa GH. Email Susie at info@sukasa.com.gh. Sukasa, building on trust.
When shopping for a dress, you say,
of course, a low burst line, a little tight by the hips, covered sleeves, off shoulder, definitely.
But when buying anti-malarial drug, you say,
is it not malaria? Give me whatever is available.
Choose your malaria drugs the same way you choose your dress. Always ask for Coatem. It's also available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets for children. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Coatem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malaria testing should be done before treatment. This advert is FDA approved.
Season of the year, just in some points, Momo Pay, or you say Momo app. Send with ease and win big. You be merchant or you be Momo user. Momo season Avanti, send the via. Send the via. Momo season Avanti, send the via. Send the via.
From now till the end of September, earn points when you download the Momo app and make Momo Pay transactions to a merchant via either the QR code or merchant ID and stand the chance of winning 1,000 Ghana cedis weekly and other amazing prizes. Our merchants are not left out. Receive payment and win. There are lots and lots of exciting prizes to be won. So download the Momo app, transact with Momo Pay, and get rewarded this Momo season. TNCs apply.
MTN.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens. Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Well, time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citibusinessnews.com. My name is Adjoatin Krama Domina. Let's settle for the details. Now, the Bank of Ghana has decided to maintain the monetary policy rate at 30% after reviewing the economic situation. This means that lending rates in the country will remain unchanged. This is the second time this year that the central bank has kept the rate steady after doing so in May. The decision comes after a 50 basis point increase in July, driven by inflationary pressures. However, the central bank governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, says they are now focused on quickening the disinflation process based on anticipated global economic shocks.
On inflation dynamics, the continued maintenance of a tight monetary policy stance and relative exchange rate stability have contributed significantly to the disinflation process observed in the year thus far. Headline inflation has declined by a cumulative 14% since the peak of 54.1% recorded in December 2022. Non-food inflation has also declined sharply by close to 20%, broadly reflecting the effectiveness of monetary policy. All core inflation measures monitored by the central bank are trending downwards, indicating continued easing of underlying inflation pressures. In addition, 1 year ahead survey-based inflation expectations seem well anchored. While the disinflation process has resumed, which results in a gradual return towards the target band over the medium term, bearing unanticipated shocks, rising international crude oil prices and adjustments to utility tariffs remain a risk to the outlook, which would have to be managed through monetary policy vigilance. Given these considerations, the committee decided to maintain the policy rate at 30%. The committee further indicated that while the expectation is for continued disinflation, it stands ready to respond appropriately should inflation deviate from these broad expectations.
You heard Dr. Ernest Addison, he's governor of the Bank of Ghana. Now, Professor Peter Korte, director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, has emphasized the critical importance of addressing structural issues within the economy. He contends that without tackling key issues, external solutions like IMF assistance and debt exchange initiatives will fall short of resolving Ghana's economic woes. Speaking to Citi Business News, Professor Peter Korte highlighted some key issues that needed to be addressed.
The structural rigidities within the economy has to be addressed. The fact that we are not producing enough, the fact that we are over-dependent on imports, the fact that we don't add much value to agriculture, we are not getting enough revenue domestically. Many people are working, earning income, but are not paying taxes, and the few who are paid are overburdened, they are harassed. If we don't address these problems, as well as address our wasteful spending, we are spending more than necessary. There's no value for money spending in some cases. A lot of leakages in our system. Until we are able to streamline all of this, debt exchange will not solve our problem. IMF is a temporary solution, will not solve our problems.
Professor Peter Korte is the director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research. Away from that, the rise in mobile money transactions for the first 8 months of the year will not translate into revenue for the government. That's a thought of a tax analyst, Dr. Alex Ampabing. Figures from the Bank of Ghana shows that total mobile money transactions as of August 2023 hit a record 1.19 trillion Ghana cedis compared to the 655.97 billion cedis recorded during the same period in 2022. The month of July 2023 recorded the highest mobile money transaction of 169.6 billion cedis, while month-on-month mobile money transactions exceeded 130 billion cedis. Speaking to Citi Business News, Dr. Alex Ampabin said although the increase in transactions was good for the economy, government revenue would not see any significant improvement.
Having the e-levy or having mobile transactions moving from, I think it was 920 billion in 2021, 1.07 trillion 22, and now 1.19 trillion in 2023. These are very positive signs that the economy is gradually moving towards digitizing, which is what we need now. In terms of whether this is enough to generate revenue, I will have a different idea. And from the projected 6.9 billion. So clearly, this is not an opportunity for government to rake more e-levy. But if anything at all, it is an opportunity for government to rather keep doing more, to allow digitizing of the economy, the formalization that we've all been crying for. Remember, a chunk of this will be coming from merchant payments. And merchant payments do not attract e-levy. So seeing this means the economy is doing well will not necessarily equate to government revenues.
That was Dr. Alex Ampabin. He is a tax analyst, and away from that, government has begun the training of some 2,000 hospitality staff in French as part of a comprehensive language training program to enhance the country's overall tourism experience for international visitors in a bid to solidify Ghana's position as a welcoming destination in the sub-region. The move is part of government's Ghana Cares economic transformation program, which seeks to ensure effective communication and provide exceptional personalized services to Francophone guests, solidifying Ghana's commitment to fostering an inclusive and culturally sensitive tourism industry. Here's the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, further explaining the expected income.
We also invest in other tourist attractions across the country. Mole, the crocodile pond, Mole, Kakum. We're doing a lot of attractions across the country. So all this like the training, the end game is to make Ghana an attractive tourism destination. The most number one attractive destination in West Africa, and then hopefully within the next 10 years in Africa. Once combine that with the skills training, that gives people competences in French and English. After we've done about 6,000 in the next 3 years, I train about 6,000 frontline staff in French. We start to and also add another language, either Chinese or German or Spanish. So that ultimately, Ghana hospitality becomes a multilingual sector that can attract tourists from all over the world.
You heard the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal. Now, as the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, continues to gain momentum, stakeholders in West Africa's aviation sector are actively pushing for measures that will strengthen the regional industry to boost intra-African trade. According to them, one key strategy African governments need to deploy is to incentivize local carrier operators, ensuring they play a pivotal role in the AfCFTA's optimization. Speaking at the grand opening of Air Côte d'Ivoire's operations in Accra, Michelin Yahout, the country manager of the airline, underscored the urgent need for regional integration.
I can't end this speech without appealing to our African leaders and especially our regional governments to think integration, Pan-Africanism, and protection of our intra-trade among ourselves, taking advantage of the birth of African Continental Free Trade Area. Incentive and priority should be granted easily to African carriers who serve the continent. The African Continental Free Trade can't move easily without a vibrant aviation industry. Let's be one and start from Africa by being, as said by the entrepreneur Mossadegh Bali, African who build Africa. Let's give credit to ourselves than others. The opening of our sky shouldn't be an irreversible challenge for sub-region carriers to compete on unfair pricing model imposed by the one we openly accept in our skies. The sub-region should make sure to regulate a fair competition. At the end, the Yamoussoukro Fifth Freedom Right should facilitate, but not damage the intra-African investments.
Michelin Yahout is the country manager of Air Côte d'Ivoire. Now, on his part, the Deputy Minister for Transport, Hassan Tampuli, reaffirmed government's commitment to enhancing the aviation sector with the aim of establishing the country as a prominent aviation hub. Hassan Tampuli emphasizes that domestic airline operators should capitalize on the ongoing expansions at local airports to better serve their passengers.
Our government has an obligation to provide leadership, provide policy direction, expand infrastructure. And in that regard, we are fully complete with the terminal building at the Kumasi airport as well. The runway has also been expanded. We are 100% done with the terminal building. Other ancillary work, we are 97% done. And in the fullness of time, Kumasi International Airport will also be inaugurated to the traveling public to enhance customer experience. Throughout the airports, we are in the process and feasibility studies have been completed in identifying a place between the western region and the central region to do another airport for us to be able to serve the western part of the country. Sunyani Airport has received the facelift. Ho Airport is also there. Then we have the airport also in Wa, which currently also operates the domestic airline. So all in all, we are ready for business. We all need to do our bits to maintain standards as government policy directors, as industry regulators, as airport managers, as airline operators, as passengers. All of us have a role to play.
That was the Deputy Minister for Transport, Hassan Tampuli. And before we go, this Saturday, all roads leads to the Eden Heights Sports Complex wager for the 2023 edition of the Citi Business Olympics. Today, we relive the moment and tell you who won what at last year's Citi Business Olympics.
GCB Bank won big in 2022. The bank swept 12 trophies after beating a lot of the participating companies. Yes, 12. GCB topped sack race for women, table tennis for men and women, tug of war for men, and volleyball for women. The bank came second in lime and spoon, volleyball for men, arm wrestling for men, and tennis for men and women. He also won 2 bronze medals in the tug of war men and sack race men sporting disciplines. That was the third consecutive time GCB was emerging as the overall winner of the Citi Business Olympics. The company won the bragging rights in 2018 and 2019. In 2017, they were joint winners with Nexus Ghana as both companies won equal trophies. But who were the winners of the other disciplines last year? Radiance Petroleum won the men's swimming. That of the women's swimming went to AFS. Ghana Shippers Authority came tops with men's sack race and Scrabble. Ghana Export and Sing Consult won lime and spoon for men and women respectively. Draft went to Enterprise Life. For chess, Transmed took the first position. Promasidor were champions in arm wrestling men. Alisa Hotel placed first in both arm wrestling women and volleyball men. Margins won tug of war women. Other wins included lawn tennis men, Gassem lawn tennis women, Papaya and basketball men NHIA. Rare Minerals were winners of video games and of course that big one, the CEO's Challenge. But is GCB Bank poised to retain the title as defending champions? Well, only time will tell. We find out on Saturday, September 31, the Citi Business Olympics kicks off at the Eden High Sports Complex in Wager. Until then, call 0205 973 973 or 0558 973 973 for details of how to register your company. The 2023 Citi Business Olympics is powered by Citi TV and supported by Citi FM. It is proudly sponsored by Lozati Lozenges from Unicom Chemist, EK Brand Consult, Blue Jeans Energy Drink, Hollard Insurance, and Voltaic.
And that was a report read by Citi Business News' Neela T. Now, Fayugo and Universal Motors are also sponsors of the 2023 Citi Business Olympics. And that's all for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. It was powered by your most comprehensive business website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Ajwa Tinkrama Domina. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know your papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you. Can't feel better energy. Can't touch this. Charlie, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Hey, Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Technology is shaping the workforce of the future. Are you job market ready? Looking for a career change or want to get into the tech space? The place to start is with ALX. ALX, an Africa Leadership Group initiative in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation, is developing a talent pool within the technology sector. ALX offers courses in software engineering, AWS cloud computing, data analytics, and Salesforce administration. This is an opportunity to learn in-demand skills in a changing job market. ALX provides added value in training programs, mentorships, and networking. Apply now and get started on your dream career. Visit www.alxafrica.com to register before the deadline of 12 September 2023.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
News. My name is Umaru Sandama. Tonight on Point Blank, about the demonstration that was held in Accra on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Ghanaians converged on the Jubilee House. 50 people were arrested, people who were taking part in the demonstration. Today, the news we have is that the Accra Regional Police Commander, COP Saibu Garba, has been summoned by the Police Management Board, POMAB, to answer questions on the brutalization of protesters of the Occupy Julobi House demonstration by the police. The protesters, who were demonstrating against the government's economic policies and alleged corruption, were met with excessive force from the police on Thursday, September 21, 2023. Almost 50 protesters, including journalists, were arrested. The incident sparked outrage from Ghanaians who have accused the police of using excess force against unarmed civilians. Citi News source within the police service has revealed that the police service has taken a serious view of the matter and has queried COP Garba and also summoned him to explain what happened on Thursday. And talking about what happened on Thursday, the National Commission for Civic Education has also issued a statement on this matter, and it's titled "Preventing Citizens from Exercising Their Sovereign Right Undermines Ghana's Democracy." That's NCC, and it's signed by the chairperson of the commission, Madam Kathleen Adi, who's actually joined us on the line. Madam, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. So from NCC's perspective, what happened on Thursday was not right?
Thank you very much, Umaru, and good evening to your listeners. From NCC's perspective, citizens of Ghana have a right to protest. It is enshrined in the Constitution, and it is it's almost a rite of passage. We have demonstrations in this country. It's part of the political culture of the politics of our democracy. And it's important that we understand that people do have a right to protest. They have a right to demonstrate. And when they do so, they must not be subjected to brutality by anyone. That being said, you also know that the demonstrations must happen within the guidelines as stated in the Public Order Act. And so all parties involved in these sorts of things must understand the role that they are playing, must understand that they must work within the rules. When somebody goes on a demonstration and they do the right thing, even if they're going to be arrested, even if the police is going to intervene, I'm sure that there are legal, well laid down procedures for doing that. And so it's important that from the side of the police, they also take note of this, allow people to demonstrate as long as they're doing it lawfully. And if they are not doing it lawfully, then use the law to ensure that they get back on the right track.
You have been involved in activism, you've been involved in civil society, and now you are in charge of educating the citizenry. Do you get a sense that the police also may require some education when it comes to respecting people who are engaging in mass action?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you look at the videos, and that is not to say that you can get a full picture from a couple of videos, I get a sense that the police get frustrated. You know, they are provoked, they get frustrated, and then they react. I think that is important. I think there are well laid down procedures. There are legal ways of handling demonstrations, even demonstrations that have gotten out of hand. And I think that over the years, we seem to see this happening from time to time, where the police get pushed to the wall and then they react in a way that may not be entirely lawful. So it is important that they also receive the education. We all need education in being good citizens. We all need education in understanding our role in the democracy that we are practicing. Everybody has a role. Police has a very important role. They protect us. They keep us safe. They look out for us. They look after us. But they also have a role to ensure that there's no public disturbance that leads to chaos, fear, and panic, and all of those things. So the role that they play is critical. It sits in the middle between society and the social order moving as it should without any interruption of confusion and chaos. But they also must ensure that people are safe, you understand? So it's a very fine line that they tread, and we appreciate the work that they have to do and the things that they have to do to ensure that they keep the balance. But it is important that we send the right signal that people have a right to exercise. People have freedom of. People are free to demonstrate, to express their displeasure with anything that they want to, and that people must understand that in order to do that, you must do it lawfully.
Very well. I'm looking at the third paragraph in your statement. That said, NCC, and I'm reading, also reminds citizens that fundamental human rights are not absolute. Demonstrations, processions, and other expressions of citizens' discontent must happen within the confines of the law. Are you not also then saying that the citizenry should be gagged to an extent by this statement?
The law does not gag anybody in Ghana. The law does not gag anybody in Ghana. The law sets out guidelines. If you want to demonstrate, these are the steps that you have to take. If you want to demonstrate, this is the way you have to do it. It involves the police, it involves the judiciary, the legal system. It's not gagging. And it does not apply to just this demonstration. Every demonstration must go through the same procedure. You know, time given for notice, the formal communications between the police and the demonstrators, it's a process that's well laid out. It's not an illegal process. So this is not to say that people must be gagged. Far from it. I will be the last person, the very last person, to say that people should be gagged from expressing themselves. I mean, I have been a democracy fighter for many, many, many years, and that has not changed. It is important that we understand that rights are not absolute. If you go on a demonstration because you have a right to demonstrate, right, and you engage in disorderly activities, for instance, and those disorderly activities go to infringe on other people's rights to, for instance, conduct business in an environment that is safe or brings injury to somebody, then that cannot be part of just exercising human rights, fundamental human rights. It has to be within the context. And so in that context, we must all understand what we are able to and not able to do when we are trying to exercise those rights.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, madam.
Thank you so much, Umaru.
That's Kathleen Adi. She's the chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE. Let's listen to the big news of the day now. Alan Kyerematen resigning. This is a summary of what he said before announcing that he has left the NPP and going to run independent.
Their party has been hijacked by a selected group of party leaders and elders, government appointees, behind the curtain power brokers and some unscrupulous party apparatus. It was my fervent wish to use the vehicle of their party to bring my God-given talents, experience, and knowledge acquired both locally and internationally over a period of 46 years to serve our dear nation, Ghana, at the highest level of executive authority. It is abundantly clear to me that my services and contributions to the party are not appreciated, and that my continuous stay in the party will create further tension and divisions, which is an exact replay of the circumstances that led to my decision to resign from the party in 2008. Fellow countrymen and women, under the circumstances and given the context provided, I wish to use this platform to announce that I'm honorably resigning with immediate effect. And I repeat, under the circumstances and given the context provided, I wish to use this platform to announce that I'm honorably resigning with immediate effect from the new patriotic party to contest for the high office of the President of the Republic of Ghana in the 2024 general elections as an independent presidential candidate. To actualize this goal, I will establish and lead a new movement for change in Ghana. The brand logo for the movement is the monarch butterfly, which politically symbolizes change and transformation, hope and positivity. It also communicates strength, endurance, spirituality, and trust, which are all key traits that I cherish as a political leader. In Akan, it is known as Afafanto. The brand motto of the movement is Ghana will rise again. Ghana will rise again, which symbolizes hope for the future of Ghana. The new movement will be led and powered by the youth of Ghana. Out of the over 17 million registered voters in the 2020 general elections, the youth aged 18 to 35 years constituted over 9.4 million voters, representing 55% of the total voters. This is a constituency that you cannot ignore. It is acknowledged without doubt that the youth represent the future of our country, and yet they constitute the most vulnerable section of our society. From available statistics, 85% of all prison inmates in Ghana are aged between 12 and 35 years. This is profoundly alarming. Fellow countrymen and women, it is also worth noting that every year, over 300,000 graduates from tertiary institutions in Ghana, excluding those from secondary institutions, enter the job market with little or no hope of finding a job. Clearly, public sector employment is not an option with an already over-bloated public service. This phenomenon of a pervasive employment crisis is gradually becoming a national security threat.
That was Alan Kyerematen announcing his resignation from the NPP and also decision to run independent in 2024. Ending tonight's edition of Eyewitness News, my name is Umaru Sanda Amadou. Production by Beverly London, Kobna Wilson, and Sami Wiafe. Technical support from Daniel Squashi. New media support from Edwin Kwakovi. We'll be back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Up next is Footprint. And tonight, Samuel Atamensa is hosting Samson Kweku Boafo, SK Boafo. You do want to stay tuned in and listen to that interactive interview into the footprint of history.